Hi, Richard.
Hi. I guess I can record. It's recording.
Good.
Okay, we're in window, so everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, great. So then, welcome everyone to the remote Zoom meeting, regular meeting, Cornwall Board of Selectmen. We have, first thing is approval of minutes of the July 7th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I move we approve the minutes of the July 7th meeting.
I second.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second that.
I
Any
second.
discussion?
Marina said second.
Oh, she did. Good.
Yeah.
So, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have addition to the agenda. I had a couple of routine things. One is Paul Prindle, building inspector contract extension. Second is tax refund. Third is appointment of Josh Tyson to Torrent Area Health District. Are there any other additions to the agenda?
I was just curious if we could address maybe some of the recent concern about River Road, just so people know that it's on your radar.
Yeah. I thought we'd address that under the COVID
Okay.
update. I
Cool.
mean, not the, is that COVID? Is it not COVID? It's sort of COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's on my, it's on my list.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. So is there a second to adding those three things?
I second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Let's see. Next, we have public comment. How's the public doing? Any comments?
I'd like to make a comment,
Okay.
if you consider me. I would just like to say that in this week's note from the Cornwall Library, that on Friday, the 24th at 5 p.m., Elizabeth Ridgway and her dad and Diane Beebe are going to be speaking, and there's going to be a talk all about reflections and projections from the coronavirus frontline. That's a Zoom, and it's at 5 p.m. on Friday the 24th, and I thought everyone should know about it.
That's a great idea. It's mostly Elizabeth and Diane, but we really haven't had a Zoom, and I wouldn't call it a town meeting, but I think our unified command did talk about it, and I think it will be interesting. And again, COVID has impacted town and townspeople, probably more than an issue in a long time. And again, it might be interesting people to hear. Again, Elizabeth is an emergency room nurse at Sharon Hospital, some of the experiences they've had over there, and also how we as a town has responded. She's also on the ambulance squad, and we have had calls, and we won't go into particular, but generally all the training, all the new protocols. It's been pretty extensive having to redo things. And again, Diane and I are there for just general questions about what's going on as that situation changes quickly. But again, I think these perspectives a lot of times are interesting, and thank you for bringing that up, Priscilla. Any other public comments? Communications. Oh, one big communication from the highway department is that the road work is on Cream Hill is going to start the first week in August, and that will be reclaiming the road, grinding the road up, and repaving it a week later. So for the first part of August, people are urged to not go over Cream Hill if they're going to Falls Village and Music Mountain, but try to go around. People will be able to get through, but there may be delays. And again, expect a lot of construction on the north side of Cream Hill Road going towards Falls Village in August. So that's happening. Another little construction things that are happening is our 2 bridge projects are underway. They started with Fort Hill Road Bridge first, and Cogswell will probably follow sort of end of August. Again, redoing some safety improvements at those 2 bridges. So that's the word from our hardworking highway department. So any other communications? Okay, first thing is COVID-19 coronavirus update. Again, some good news that the state of Connecticut continues to get some good news as far as hospitalization and low transmission tests, as far as a lot of negative tests coming back when people get tested for COVID. I think we're at this point, we're maybe the lowest positive rate in the country, which is a very good thing. And I think the state has been working really hard, and the regional people have been working really hard, and again, individuals have been working hard to do the right thing, wear the mask, keep apart, wash your hands, and all that basic stuff. I think has really paid off, and certainly we would not want to be where some of these other states are that are really struggling with full hospitals and just tragic cases of this popping up all over the country now. So the projections are that no person is an island, and this will come back to the Northeast in the fall as people move inside more. So we are staying vigilant. Our unified command, which is the people that work for the town, emergency services, social work, continues to meet every Wednesday, as we have through March, to deal with the changing situation. I guess the two big things that we're working on now is, as Marina pointed out, a lot of sort of trash and visitors, especially on River Road near the river, just not doing appropriate behaviors as far as visiting and leaving large amounts of trash. Hats off to a local volunteer that picked up 7 bags of garbage, which Jim Bannicky went down and took to the dump. But in one spot was 7 bags of garbage, and there was, Jim said, a big party, food and everything. So again, we're being pinched a little bit because, as we know, the Great Falls have been overrun with people, and Kent Falls is closed. Some of the other places. The good news is the state is reopening some of the inland beaches and other facilities. Housatonic Meadows opened up last week, and there are people there. And I have a couple. I've also gotten a bunch of calls about people speeding to and from Mohawk Pond, and all sorts of wild activities up there. So I do have a call into DEP to ask for more supervision of especially Mohawk Pond, which is in the middle of the state forest. And again, residents' complaints about that. And anywhere near water, not that you can blame anybody for trying to cool off in this heat wave, but there are ways to cool off without, leaving all your garbage and other personal items, there for somebody to pick up. That's just not acceptable. So we're going to work with the DEP. I have talked to my counterpart down in Kent, the first selectman. One of the things that we are going to ask is for increased, I know DEP is stretched thin, and but to have increased personnel at some of these places, HVA, again, through the river monitoring program. It does have volunteers out looking at some of the frequently traveled places to try to educate people on proper use of the river. But one of the things we're going to push for is to reopen Kent Falls, which normally absorbs a lot of people. That's been closed. The town of Kent would like to have that open, and I think what we're seeing with some of these places being closed is it just moving people to another place, and once they get to an unsupervised place, it gets a lot worse than if they were in a supervised place. So again, we're going to work with our legislators and representatives and fellow selectmen to try to get a more organized recreation program going, a more supervised thing. And again, if anybody sees unlawful behavior, call the police, call the DEP. There's no reason for people to do outrageous behavior just because they're hot. And again, I'm totally sympathetic to the people that live in these places and are trying just to do their own thing without getting accosted by people blowing through on their way to cutting loose somewhere. So again, we're working on that. That's one big thing is getting a little bit overrun by visitors. Again, I saw a fisherman today who said it's great fishing in Houston River. He caught a fish that was so big he broke his fishing pole, but he said it was a wonderful experience. So again, a lot of visitors, a lot of people doing great things when they come to visit, but unfortunately there's some stuff that's gone out of control. So we are keeping track of that. And again, if people can document what's going on, it's helpful for our law enforcement people who have been really good when they've showed up and trying to de-escalate things, not be confrontational, but tell people what the rules are and what good behavior is always good. So any other thoughts on all that? That is issue that's again ongoing and doing the best we can with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, is there anything we can do in the interim? Like, can we create some signage that encourages people to use the spaces appropriately?
We could put, we could run out some no littering some, again, up at Mohawk and stuff, a lot of signs have been torn down. So we're trying to get more signage up there, but we could definitely get no littering or pack your garbage. That kind of thing would be good. Yeah, we can make up some signs. That's a good idea. Because again, people can't say, well, nobody told me I couldn't trash the place.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't hurt to do reminders. Yeah.
Trying to maybe encourage people to rectify their own behavior before someone else has to.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Pack in. Yeah. We'll see if we can come up with something good at those couple pressure points. Okay. Yeah. So again, there are people that are monitoring stuff and taking responsibility. So got a lot of people out there trying to make sure everything goes right the best you can. Anything else on recreation aspects? So the other sort of big thing we're working on is reopening the consolidated school. I have met with the new principal, who's very dynamic. I think she's a great selection for our school. She has had some new enrollees visit and things, so that's all good. There is a board ed meeting tomorrow, virtual meeting, which I will attend to talk about, the opening of school. And of course, we're a bit on uncharted territories. We hope that the kids will lead the way and adjust to some of the new routines. And I know they've got a good staff over there that will work hard to make sure the opening's a success. And so I talked to the board chair, Kathy Tachi, this afternoon and said that whatever we can do to make things smooth. I think they are going to have some public, parent online forums ahead of time so people can hear what the policies are, procedures are. There's a whole raft of things as far as how do you conduct everything from school bus rides to nurse's office and classrooms, and there's pretty much top to bottom changes and separations and mask wearing and things. But again, we want to keep Connecticut and Cornwall where we are, as opposed to some areas that are really being hit hard. So again, I think whatever we can do to help the school people get off to a good start, we will do. So any thoughts on all that? things. So I think that's about it. Again, our unified command continues to meet. Our meal food delivery service is still going strong. More people are volunteering to help with that. They could use a few more volunteers. So if people want to email us at the office, Heather can get them trained and we can get a new crew in there. Some people have been working at that since snow was out. First time we delivered. So, so again, Jonathan's going to help out a little bit with that. So I think we're hitting those things. And again, thanks to the people that are working 7 days a week to keep things going smoothly in that way. So anything else on COVID? All right, next thing, we got some good news that we did get approved for this state housing planning grant that we applied for. So that will be an interactive process to look at Cornwall's housing policies, make some suggestions on how we might have a better variety of housing types, and it particularly relevant because the Planning and Zoning Commission is looking at expanding, revising some of the regulations as far as housing goes. So again, we don't have any monopoly on good ideas as far as increasing rental housing and all sorts of different housing, especially for people that want to downsize or people that want to come here on an entry level basis. So again, I think that's a really good step. So you'll hear more about that in the probably in September. We'll get cranked up on that. A couple other towns in the area are doing the same sort of thing. And today I attended a virtual meeting of the Connecticut Council of Small Towns, which, as you can tell by its name, is a statewide organization in which I'm on the board of directors. Comprises about 120 of the towns, the smallest towns in the state out of the 169 towns in Connecticut. 120 are under 20,000 population. This is a little fun fact. So anyway, we are engaged because there's going to be a special session of the legislature in September. This could be one that's going on right now. So it's very interesting because a couple things. The legislature right now is in special session to debate and enact absentee ballot reform in view of COVID. So they want, or at least some people want, to make it so people can get a absentee ballot if you're not sick or away, just on the basis that you don't want to go in person to vote, which I think especially frail population does not want to venture out any more than they have to, and I don't think you should have to venture out to vote. So anyway, hopefully that will get through the special session, which is underway. I know Representative Maria Horn is having a Facebook session tomorrow night at about 5:45 to talk about absentee ballots voting. There is a state primary coming up, or federal primary coming up on August 11th for a run, and we have a whole lot of forms and paperwork to fill out as a municipality for cybersecurity. There's a very elevated concern that there will be increased checking of this election. The election in November, the stakes couldn't be higher. And we want to make sure that the bad guys don't hack in, and there's a lot of responsibility and a lot of things that are being done state and local level to make sure these elections done properly, to the best of our abilities. So again, Jonathan and the registrars and I are having a session tomorrow to talk about cybersecurity. So that's one item that's coming up in the special session, is absentee ballots, trying to make that easier for voters this November. Second issue is going to be police conduct reform. So that will be an issue that will get a lot of attention. And the third thing is they have some routine items on insurance. When they left town so quickly in March, they didn't do some of the business they needed to do as far as making sure that some of the state insurances are in place. So those three items we handled this month. They are going to take August off and probably return in September. One of the issues that they are going to be dealing with is housing and zoning. There's a proposal that would pretty thoroughly rewrite the statutory requirements for zoning. And so I will be involved with that with the Council of Small Towns. So a lot of things are going on now with planning and zoning, affordable housing, and things. So that will be something we will be hearing more of in the fall. So any questions about that? Again, I think it gets us back on track, thinking about the future of the town and doing some big thinking, some big actions that will hopefully make some real things happen. So anyway, so we're good to get that. Hazard mitigation planning, that's another little activity we're doing down at the office that we have to, as part of the federal program, look at some of the natural hazards that we have as far as hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, making sure we identify the risks and do some planning on that. The Council of Governments is coordinating that, so each town does not have to do all the homework themselves. So we are participating with our fellow towns in the area to do our 5-year review of that. So again, if anything changes dramatically, I will let you know as far as that. Next, we have our additions. Paul Prindle, contract extension. Paul is the building official, has done a great job for many years, and he would like a 1-year extension on his contract. Again, he collects fees for the town. He gets paid by keeping 90% of the fees. The town gets 10% of the fees that he gets, and that makes his office run without expense to the town. And again, he's experienced. He's got a good way of running that office. And there's quite a bit of building activity starting up in the town. So I make a motion that we offer Paul a 1-year extension on his contract as it currently is written. Is there a second?
I second that. I've worked with Paul from time to time, and he's easy to understand and most courteous to everyone and answers questions thoroughly. So I'm delighted he wants a 1-year extension.
Okay, he's a gem. You know, he knows a lot. He's very helpful. So I will tell Paul we are delighted to offer him a 1-year extension. We'd offer him more, but again, he requested 1 year. So I think that's a good way to go. Any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, tax refund. John, you have some tax refunds there. Do you want to, we don't have to say who they're for, but they're by recommendation of the tax collector. Did the board get copies of these?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Right. So there's nothing unusual about them. And again, one's an overpayment and one is not tours. People sold cars or something. So I'd make a motion that we grant those tax refunds. John, what's the total we're talking about here?
Let's see. The 2 refunds for motor vehicles are one is $39.45. The other is $37.16. And the overpayment for real estate is $1,162.27.
Okay. So those are overpayment sales. And again, so that's fine. Another word from Barbara is the town did end the year in a substantial surplus. So we will not have any problem in granting these requests. So any more discussion on these tax refunds? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, Josh Tyson. I think we had talked about appointing Josh to the Torrey Area Health District, but we never officially did that. And they are meeting this week, and he is willing to serve on that. Again, it's not just septic systems anymore. They've done a wonderful job, the health district, with monitoring COVID. It's really important to have a regional, coherent, professional approach when you're having these health emergencies that we've planned for years, and now here we are. So again, Josh is knowledgeable about a lot of things. So I would make a motion that we appoint him as our representative to the Dorian area area health district. They meet, I'm not sure, I think it's bi-monthly. So
I
is
second.
there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so Josh it is. All right, so John will need to contact him tomorrow. Does there meeting tomorrow night? That's a little short notice, but anyway, there's a meeting tomorrow. Anyway, we'll get him on track with that meeting schedule. Okay, so that's all we had, I think, for additions. Again, public comment. Let's see. I did have a couple public comment. People really appreciated being able to swim. So again, thank you to our lifeguards and the people that have made Hammond Beach possible, especially during this heat wave. I know we were at near capacity a couple times, but everybody seems to be working together. And I think it's the setup that Marina Engineer has worked well to keep beach access, but have it in a way that makes sense from a COVID standpoint.
Yeah, we really rarely, like, this weekend was a test, I think, in terms of the heat, and like it just works in terms of the flow of the population and when people want to use it. So really, like, we've only almost reached capacity a few times, so it's been working really well.
Yeah, and again, thanks to Roxana Hammond 30 years ago, digging deep and making the donation to the town of that piece of property. So donations are always welcome to the town. We put them to good use. Think how many people have been swimming there since. So all good. Any other public comments? Any hard questions from the press?
I have a hard question.
Okay.
I just wondered the amount of that housing planning grant.
I think it's about $10,000.
About 10. And
Yeah.
what does it cover?
It covers, I think, the state. They have some people that are doing this around the state, so they're going to tell us, they're going to look at what we have now and make some suggestions on how we can diversify our housing stock to make it a little more, I assume more rental housing, more things for younger people and older people, downsize, upsize, entry-level housing. And again, this is exactly what the zoning commission is wrestling with right now. So I think we're going to try to steal some other towns' good ideas, or maybe make a few of our own. Cornwall was one of the first towns around to have accessory apartment option, where people can put a small apartment on top of a garage or a standalone building. And we've talking about expanding the size of those, for example. So there's a bunch of things that we've done, and there's more things that we can do.
Good. Okay. And
So we're getting some outside information.
And then you said that there of the 120, you gave out that fun fact, 120 towns.
Yeah.
So what was the rest of that fun fact?
The fun fact was approximately 120 towns of the 169 in Connecticut are under 25,000 population.
Okay.
And almost all of them belong to the Council of Small Towns.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all parts of the state.
All right, Ruth, it's all yours.
Thanks, Leila. Sorry I was late. My husband was on a Board of Finance Zoom and we're sharing this computer, so.
Okay.
Crazy, crazy. So I just came in on the talk about Mohawk. Is that Mohawk State Forest where you're having issues?
We're having issues in Mohawk Pond.
And
Where
where
there's a boat launch there,
okay.
which is being pretty thoroughly overused. So that's what we're looking at.
And where is that?
That is sort of in the middle of Mohawk State Forest. It's
okay. Okay.
and there's a state boat ramp there, but there's not. It's sort of, yeah. So we know the DEP is understaffed, and that's one of the areas where it's apparent. And I know even though they closed the Great Falls, it was still packed supposedly this weekend. So, so I've talked to Gene Speck, and I think we're both in agreement that if Kent Falls was opened up, at least that would be a place where there are porta potties. There are some people there to monitor what's going on. The problem with Mohawk Pond in particular is it takes our emergency crews probably 20 minutes to get there. So we have had calls up there for people have had too much partying or whatever, and it's you're pretty much in the middle, of a wilderness up there. So anyway, it's not a great location for things to go out of control. It's so far away. So again, we're working on trying to get an organized recreation program for the Housatonic Valley with DP, and so I have been talking to Gene, and I know people.
Yeah, I mean, you've got this facility here, and this Great Falls, I've been up there for the last few weekends, and it's incredible. And as you say, I feel for people, they're in sweltering apartments and want some, fresh air and cool you off, but it's so dangerous and
yeah. Well, also there's a lot of unnecessary trash coming. I mean, there's one thing to jump. I shouldn't say I'm all in favor of people jumping in the river but I'm not in favor of people trashing the place.
No.
I can understand that. And again, people should know how to swim. And there's a bunch of people jumping in the river who don't know how to swim. I think people don't have no idea how powerful, especially up Great Falls, the pressures in the pools and all that stuff. It looks great. And even in Cornwall, there's some very deep pockets where people don't know how to swim. All of a sudden, you could be in 10, 12 feet of water.
Well, same here in Bulls Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, working with Gene, trying to, because my thinking is better to have some supervised recreation. And again, I'm all, get me on my platform. I think there should be more state parks, more forest, more green space in urban areas. The state spends huge amounts of money buying huge amounts of land out here. I would like to see more urban parks, more urban recreation. So there's some places that apparently towns have no parks. Yeah. So again, it would be nice to have a mix of things. And I know it's more and more places are reopening, and you got to be prudent of things. But I think having supervised play is better than just over the top, because everybody's got a lot of pent up energy, I think is a good way to put it.
Well, I don't see how they can control Great Falls unless you have enforcement there all the time. There's just
right. And even that, you could have problems, but again, it's a resource thing, and there does seem to be some areas that are safer. And again, if you have a problem with the trails at Kent Falls, then block off the trails, and there's a lot of grass there.
Yeah.
And again, the Housatonic Meadows, we're glad to have people come visit there. There's a big parking lot. People can get close to the river there. Very safe, very good parking. There's some porta potties there even, which is another little thing we got going on. So
you haven't had problems there?
well, I mean, it's much more manageable than just going wild up on top of Mohawk.
But you're
Yeah.
having some problems on River Road, you said?
Yeah,
Oh.
there's some pull-offs there. Had a few renegade barbecue thing going on. So anyway, that got pretty well trashed this weekend.
Boy, that's a shame.
Yeah, but again, it was nice. People helped pick it up, but they shouldn't. Of course, the person who did it was 70 years old and is a wonderful person, but they shouldn't have to do that.
Right. Thank you.
So anyway, but overall,
Thank you.
we're good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're going to keep, we understand the state is stressed, and state overall did a wonderful job with this whole COVID thing. And again, we're going to keep on talking and trying to find out how we can get a workable program going. Okay.
One quick question.
Any other comments?
One quick question. Gordon, on that affordable housing plan grant, does that just, is that just looking at the housing, or is it also, like, what's the scope of that? Is that going to look at also, like, the area, whether commercial or sort of like the development of the area as well? Like, do we need another school, or, what I'm saying? Is it just going to look at the housing stock, or is it a broader, I don't know what the grant covers.
Yeah, I don't know the exact specifics either, but we will keep that in mind. As far as my understanding is, they're probably going to make some sort of best practice suggestions on how you can, as a small town, increase the variety of housing. I don't think they're going to go and say you should have, you have the housing and you have the job, issues, but I think they're going to mostly talk about how you can diversify your housing stock.
Okay.
So anyway, as far as I understand, it's a very public process. So as much as we can, we will include people on that whole deal.
Thank you.
Okay. So anything else? Okay, well, we'll see you all. I'll work on my background and get that under control for the next meeting. And see you all soon. And hope you have a good start of August, and hope we get some rain. Okay, so motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yep, thank
Yep.
you.
You bet. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Stay cool and stay well.
That's
Yes,
it.
you
You got
too.
it.